I like it better when I compete against adults than like my own age. I don't know. I just feel like I can be more myself, and I don't have to like. I'm just having fun. I don't even care about the whole competition.
Today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, Inner West Hemp. Be sure to visit them online for all your CBD needs. This is the same company that I use daily, from tinctures to rub-ons to CBD gummies. Some of their products are even USADA approved. Be sure to use the code JAMP for 15% off at checkout. What's up, guys? Today's guest is a 15-year-old sponsored athlete of Jump Freerun, who is also the first place winner at the IFKF speed competition and the second place women's winner at the NAPC 7 Skills Challenge and the 2018 Air Whip Freestyle Challenge. Please welcome to the JAMCast, Miss NOA DIORGINA. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Good to see you. Did I say your last name kind of close?
Yeah, it was perfect.
I tried my best. Well, thank you for joining us. How's quarantine going for you, and where are you located around the world for everybody?
Right now I'm in Holland. I live here with my parents, and yeah, I really can't sit still. So I'm like trying to find a reason to get out of the house and train.
That's awesome. Are you allowed to still go outside and train at parks and stuff?
Yeah, I'm allowed to do that.
Okay. And what about the gym? Is Jump Freerun closed right now?
Yeah, it's closed, so we can't train there. So yeah, I'm training outside most of the time. Yeah, it's pretty fun. So
Because of the quarantine, are you having to train alone, or do you get to train with friends sometimes?
I have to train alone because of COVID-19. So
Totally. And what about like before the quarantine, before COVID-19, do you usually train alone or do you train in a group? Who do you usually train with?
like I train with a group most of the time, like a big group of friends, and yeah, we have lessons at Jump Freerun, and we have one team that's like really close, and that's really fun. So
And what are the ages of the people you train with? Are they all around the same age as you, or do you have older people you're training with?
normally like older people.
Wow, that's crazy. And you know what's funny? I'm just going to stop you and just tell you that your English is super good. I know you were nervous about it.
I don't think it's that good, but it's okay.
It's amazing. And I kind of made a joke about it that like us Americans, we barely speak English. And how many languages do you speak? You speak 3?
I speak like 6, I think.
6?
Yeah, like at my school we have Latin and Greek. So these two, then we have, how do you say it in English? Like Macedonies.
Oh, okay.
Macedonies. There's where my grandparents live. And then I can speak English, Dutch, and that's it.
No way.
Oh yeah, and also German. So
I feel very stupid now. And what's your first language, or what do you speak at home the most?
Dutch.
Dutch.
Because I live in Holland, so.
That's awesome. And are you born and raised in Holland? Have you lived anywhere else before?
No, I'm born and raised in Holland.
Wow, that's amazing. That's so cool. It's one of my favorite places in the entire planet. So, yeah.
It's raining a lot, but that's okay.
This is true, I know. At least you're kind of stuck inside while it's raining, so that's a good thing.
That's true.
That's awesome. Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I mean, you've done so many things, but I think the coolest thing to bring up is that you are, I think, tied for the youngest guest we've ever had. The only other person we've had that's 15 years old on the show is Zen Kajihara and Shosei Iwamoto, who are some of the best trickers on the planet.
Sick. That's awesome.
And so my question for you is at 15 years old, how old were you when you started parkour?
I was 7 years old, so I doing parkour like more than half of my life.
Wow. And how did you find out about parkour? What made you want to get into it and start training?
Like when I was younger, I was really energetic and I couldn't sit still for like 1 second. So one of my surf coaches, I thought, said to my dad, like, you have to try it. And from that moment, I never stopped free running or parkour.
Wow. And was the first time you tried it, was it at a gym at Jump Freerun, or was it with friends outside?
It was, I think, a Jump Freerun, my first.
Wow.
My
So you
first lesson.
so you started with lessons as just a student.
Yeah, and then most of the time I went outside and just watched like YouTube videos and Instagram videos. I didn't have my own Instagram back then, but I watched on my mom's phone. So
That's so funny. And how many days a week did you take classes when you started?
when I started, I think just like 1 or 2, because I was really into dancing and I did that all the time. So I didn't have like much space to train more for free running.
Wow, that's amazing. And I did see that. I actually found a photo of you on your Instagram where you're in a ballet outfit. And so your first sport was dancing?
Yeah, that was. I did that from when I was 3 years old, and yeah, I think. Sorry, my English is not that good. So, I started dancing when I was 3 years old, and yeah, I did stop last year with dance classes, because I really wanted to focus on training for parkour and free running.
Wow, that's amazing. And what style of dance did you do? Is it classically trained like ballet or
I
contemporary?
started with ballet classes, then I went to street dance, hip hop. I did like urban dance. That's just like something in between.
Totally.
Yeah, I did like kind of all the dance styles. I tried to see what I like the best.
And which style of dance did you like the best?
I think hip hop. It was really cool. So
That we see that before your parkour runs and your competitions. That's funny. And so you kind of talked about how you quit last year to focus on free running. And so now that you first started with classes, now that you're a pro athlete, how often are you training? How many days a week?
like before the quarantine, I was training 6 days a week, and at Monday 2 times a day, and Thursday also 2 times in a day.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And is it always inside of the gym, or do you split it between outside?
No, I always train like outside, and I have lessons inside. So we have a top sport team at Jump Freerun, and that's like inside. So I think it's like 50-50.
Wow, that's amazing. And so I have to ask a question. They say that ballet is the hardest sport in the world. They actually rank it as harder than football and basketball. What do you think was harder? Was dance or parkour harder for you?
It's really, really hard because I don't know. Parkour is like really in your mind, so you have to be prepared before you do something in your mind and like overcome some fears and stuff like that. And ballet is just really, I don't know, it's really hard and they're really hard for you. So when they coach, it's like, not again. You know, like, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I think it's kind of the same actually, but I think pre-running is more fun.
Okay, that's funny. And how old were you when you started to fall in love with parkour? Did you love it right from the beginning, or did it take a couple of years to really love it?
No, like when I started the first lesson, I was already like, yeah, in love
No.
with pre-running.
That's amazing. And so this is a question that I wanted to ask you because you're one of the few, you're one of the few pro female free runners. When you were started your training, did you get to train with other girls, or were you the only girl in the group?
I was the only girl in the group, and like these days, there are 2 girls, but I still train with one group, and there are only boys. So I'm kind of used to it or something.
That's so funny. I bet it's different because in dance you probably had a lot of girls that danced with you, right?
Yeah, I think all of them were girls, and there was one boy. So it was like the other way around.
Wow, that's so funny. And so I have to ask a question, and I know your mom's in the room right now, so it's funny. But did your parents support you doing parkour, or were they nervous at first?
At first my dad was really like, oh yeah, let's go, I'm gonna bring you, and my mom was like, oh no, please don't. And right now my mom is like, my mom and dad are really like my biggest supporters. So yeah.
That's amazing. You're very, very lucky. I know a lot of parents get nervous for their kids doing parkour.
Yeah, I get that.
That's really, really cool. And so I know you started about 7 years ago. And did you have any acrobatics training before? Did you know how to do flips, or did you all learn it through parkour?
I didn't do like gymnastic or tricking. I just started with parkour, but I always did like, I tried some flipping at the beach, but that's it.
No way. That's insane. And so what was the first flip that you learned? Do you remember?
I think backflip was the first flip.
No way. That's so...
Because I was too scared to like see where I was going and go over my head. So my coach said like, okay, then you do the other way around and you just go like a backflip. And I think it's still the easiest trick that I can do, I think.
Okay. And how long did it take you before you learned backflip? Did it take you like a couple years, or was it right away in parkour?
It didn't take like years, but it took some time, maybe like some months.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. So all of your flips are all taught through parkour, no gymnastics or anything.
No, just parkour.
And now, do you think that your dance background helps at all? Like, do you ever do a trick and you're like, oh, I'm able to twist better because of turning or anything?
Not like with twisting, but I think with like flow between your run, I think that helps a bit because you like, I see a run as a dance. So when I start, I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna stop till I finish the dance or like the run.
Yeah, that's totally true. And I think that's one thing that makes you very unique, is that you not only compete in freestyle competitions, but you also do speed competitions as well. Do you have a favorite?
Like, sorry, I didn't really understand it, so I'm gonna ask.
Do you like speed or freestyle competition?
I think like style and speed are both like very awesome because at speed I don't have to think. I just like, okay, I'm gonna go and not stop until I get to the finish. And with style, it's like you can be very creative and like you don't have to do something that everybody does. You can just do what you want and yeah.
100%. And so do you remember how old you are when you entered your first competition?
I think I was like 9 or 8 years.
Wow. So only like two years into practicing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
Back then I only did like speed because I couldn't do like very much style competition. But later I started with style competitions too.
That's amazing. And when you first started, were you entering into the youth divisions, or did you always have to compete against adults?
I had to compete like in the boys category. So there was no girls category at all. It was all like everybody in the same category, just like on age, I think. But yeah, it was like under 16 and above, and that's it.
Before we get into all of the different competitions that you've won and placed at, do you get nervous before competitions, or do you enjoy competitions? What makes you compete?
Like at big competitions, I'm really nervous, like really. And when somebody comes like in my, how do you say that, aura? I don't know how to say that in English. It's like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to some music and that's it. I don't need anybody right now. But I think when I'm in the competition, so when I'm doing the run or the speed run, style run, whatever, I'm like enjoying it so much, and I'm really like, yeah, I don't know, I'm really happy when I'm doing my run or something like that.
That's so cool. And now you've gotten the chance to compete at a bunch of large competitions. I know that you got first place at IFKF speed competition, and you got second place NAPC 7 style comp. You've gotten second place at Air Whip freestyle competition. You've done so many different competitions. There's even more that I didn't even name. Is there one that you remember the most or you're most proud of?
Like probably NAPC or Air Whip, because at NAPC I had so much fun, and it was like, I think one of sorry. I think NAPC was one of the best things and best competitions I did.
Okay. And I'll put
Air Whip, it was my first big competition, so that's just something that stays on your mind.
Yeah, totally. And I'll put the video of Air Whip on the screen right now. But while we talk about it, so in 2018, you got to compete at the Air Whip Challenge, and you actually had to compete in the women's category, which was all ages, adults, kids, everybody, right?
Yeah, and at first I couldn't compete because I was too young, but because of like Elise, she's really awesome and a really good friend of mine. The year before I competed at Arab Challenge, she was like an inspiration for me, and she was also too young. So they said like, okay, we did it to her, so you can come and just do your thing. So.
Wow, that's amazing. And what's very funny to me is that that year that you guys both competed, first went to Sydney Olsen, and then you got second place, and then Elise got third place, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
I didn't expect that like at all. I was just trying to have some fun with friends, and
that's so funny. I remember the announcer saying that you were half the age of Sydney. Which is so funny. Do you ever get nervous when you have to compete against the adults?
I think I like it better when I compete against adults than like my own age. I don't know. I just feel like I can be more myself, and I don't have to like. I'm just having fun. I don't even care about the whole competition. I just care about meeting people and have fun.
That's awesome. And now one of the things that I brought up before, but I think a lot of people noticed at Air Whip, was before you start your runs, you always dance. Do you do that to calm yourself down? Do you do that to get excited? Like, do you do it for the crowd?
I don't know. It's more like, I think because I had dance lessons for a really, really long time. I just get less nervous before I go into my run, and yeah, it's just to hype myself up and just get ready. So yeah.
It always looks like you're having a good time. That's the most important thing.
I'm trying to have a good time at all the competitions or events. So.
And now we got to talk about NAPC 7, which it was the skills competition that I believe you placed second place in.
Yeah.
And that was for executing a double flyaway that was absolutely amazing. I'm going to put it on screen so people can see right now. But in that competition, did you feel a lot of nerves? It seemed like there was a lot of buildup before you got to do your trick. So it's a little different than like a freestyle run.
Yeah, it was like, I think it was when you do a big trick in a run, when you start, you already think about that trick. And it makes you really nervous. And this time it was like, okay, I'm just doing one trick. If I nail it, it's like, it's fine. And I'm really like, I think I was less nervous than for a style run, but I was still very nervous because I really wanted to land it the first time.
Yeah, totally. That's insane. And so when you landed the double flyaway there, I know you got super excited and everyone congratulated you. What was going through your mind when you landed? Did you think you were going to land that clean, or were you surprised?
I was just like, okay, I was really surprised, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, let's go. Sorry for my language. But, and I was really excited, and I thought like, oh my God, I'm so happy because I really, like, my goal was to land it the first time. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And how long before that competition had you landed your first double flyaway? Was it the same year or?
No, like we got like I think an hour to train for the big trick,
Okay.
and I didn't land it like one time. So I was really scary, but I did it with a mat, and I didn't land it. But my coach said like, okay, now you do 4 like swings before you go into the double flyaway, and I think if you do it like in 2 swings and just go as hard as you can land it like perfect. And I was like, okay, but now I'm nervous because I didn't land it like maybe I landed like one time or something, but I was really scared and nervous. And my coach was like, no, you can do it. I see you doing it in your submission for Red Bull and stuff like that. So it's good. You're fine. And I was like, oh, oh shit, you know?
Oh my goodness. And so when you landed that move, that was the first time that you did it in competition, right?
Yeah. No, it was not the first time. I did it 2 times in a run as Project Underground. It's like in England competition, and I didn't land it both of the times when I did it in a run. But one of the time I over rotated, so I landed on my back.
Yes.
And the second time I uh, couldn't land it like straight. I don't know how to say that, but yeah. So I did a dive roll out of it, and that was like a pretty good run. But it was the first time I landed my double flyaway in a competition. Yeah.
Amazing. And everyone got to see it on camera, which is even cooler. And then Project Underground, I think Project Underground, did you get second at?
Yeah.
Awesome. Man, you've done so many competitions. It's insane. That's awesome. And now at IFKF, you entered the speed competition. And was that for youth or was that for all ages that you won first place?
Yeah, it was 16 plus, I think, something like that. So I was the youngest who competed there. I was not very happy with my run, like actually not, but I just still had fun and stuff like that. So.
And now I know one of the things that is kind of upsetting, or I don't know, I want to get your take on it, but I know for a long time you would put out Red Bull submission videos, but technically you weren't old enough to compete at the Red Bull competition, right?
Yeah, I was like, I really wanted it. Like when I started freerunning, actually, somebody showed like a video of Red Bull Art of Motion with Pasha and Jason Paul and stuff like that. And like I watched it and that was like my dream for when I started freerunning. And I was like every year I was trying like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. I don't think it's gonna work, but it's like I can try, you know?
Totally. And your video was super impressive. Like your Art of Motion submission is an amazing video. And you start the video off with doing double flyaway into a combo in that one.
Yeah, thank you so much for yeah, for that. But yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I'm just gonna do my best, and you always have a no, but you always can have like a yes. It's like a Dutch saying. I don't know if you know that, but
That's so funny. And I know that you submitted when you were 14, and then I saw when you turned 15, you put an Instagram post up that said 15, and you said 1 year closer to Red Bull.
like the day when I woke up when I was like 15, I was like, okay, 1 more year, then I can compete at Red Bull Art of Motion. So yeah.
There's not many kids who the first thing that they think about in post is, I'm 1 year away from competing at Red Bull Art of Motion, so that's amazing.
Yeah. But I'm coming for you, Red Bull, so.
Yes. Hopefully when the competition comes back, you'll get a chance to compete. I can't wait.
I hope so.
And so, like, since you've been so young and you haven't been able to compete at things like that, I know that you probably watch all the competitions at home. Is there anybody that you watch for inspiration, whether it's female or male? Do you have any inspirations?
I have very much inspirations like DK, Pasha, Bailey, Sydney Olsen, Elise Bickley, Lilu Rao. Then you have like uh, he's actually from Holland. Bart van der Linden. It's a really Dutch name, but
Of course.
so that's really I have a lot of people that I like watch before I go to bed or something, and just try to get some more inspiration.
And now I know it's kind of funny, but there's also a video of you online that kind of shows like a recap of your year. And I know you've got to train with Pasha. You've gotten to train with DK now. What is it like when you get to like train with these people that you grew up watching?
Yeah, it's really cool. And at first it was like, oh my god, he's Pasha, but right now it's like still he's Pasha, so it's like very cool. But I don't know, we had so much fun. We went to the beach and did like a little competition between Stas, Pasha, and me. It was like a Webster over a gap, and then to the sand, and then who can land it like further. And yeah, it was really fun and stuff like that. So yeah.
That's so funny. That's super, super cool. And now, like, when you're at home and you're training and you're like watching videos for inspiration, how do you stay up to date with everything? Do you follow people on Instagram or YouTube, or what's your favorite way to stay in the parkour scene?
Like I use all the apps: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, I'm just trying to like find the best way to watch videos from people, and like I really love to meet new people and train with them and just get into a conversation. But I think I do that the most on Instagram. So yeah.
That's really
And now, right now, obviously, you don't get to train because of COVID-19 quarantine and stuff like that. But what are some goals that you have like for your career? Because you're so young in parkour. Do you have any like dreams of, besides Red Bull? Like, what do you want to do with it? Do you want to do this for the rest of your life?
My biggest dream. So it's like, yeah. When somebody asks like, "What's your dream in parkour?" It's always like Red Bull, Red Bull out of motion. Always.
that's
But
so
like, I really want to travel around the world and meet more people and train with them. That's like one of my biggest dreams too. So
That's awesome. And you know what's kind of funny to me is you're not old enough to compete at Red Bull Art of Motion, but I know that you got to do a live show for Red Bull.
yeah, it was really cool. It was like how do you say it? Yeah. It was like I didn't. Do you call it the same in English? Like BMXers?
Yes. Yeah, bicycle BMXers, yeah.
It was called Uncontained, Rebel Uncontained, and like they asked if I wanted to do like a live show before the competition started, and it was really cool because at the background when we did the live show, you saw the Rebel Art of Motion videos, and before we did, how do you say that? Hoe zeg je van die oefenen onder, zeg maar. Practice before. Yeah, we just like practiced before the live show, and I was like watching the Red Bull Art of Motion videos. I was like, oh, I wanted to go there so bad, shit. And then someone from Red Bull itself says like, oh, you really love the competition, right? And I was like, yeah, of course, I really love it. So yeah, and it was really cool.
Well, I can just tell you from experience, I've got to be a host at tons of Red Bull Art Emotions, and you are definitely ready for the competition. So I hope that when it comes back, you get the chance to compete. The world definitely needs to see you.
Thank you so much. I hope it's my dream, so I'm just gonna do my best and see what happens.
That's awesome. And so now when you're at home and you're training on the like a day-to-day basis, is your training different when you're just training for fun than when you're training for a competition? Do you have to train differently before a comp?
Yeah, I really train like very different because right now I'm just like yesterday I tried round off double full on the sand just for fun because I wanted to know if I could do it or not. And um, like when I'm training for a competition, we have a top sport team at Freerun, and every Monday morning before school starts, we have like training for your condition, for your speed, for your strength and stuff like that. So I think we focus more on that before competition, and um, like I try to do runs with every trick I want to do at that competition. So I'm like trying to place like a goal for that competition for one trick or something that I want to do, and I just train to do it in every run and land it every time that I'm trying to do that run. And I think that's how I train for like competitions.
Did you say you trained before school?
Yeah, yeah. And during school, I also train. I train like I wake up, I go to jump Freerun. I train in the morning during school. Then I come back to school, and after school, I go back to jump Freerun and I train again.
No way. What time do you start training there in the mornings? How early did they open for you?
At Mondays, it's like I think 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah, and then till 10 or 11, I think.
Okay.
And after that, I go back to school, and then I train in the breaks from school.
No way.
I go back to home, I eat something, make some homework, and go back to jump freelance. So it's basically my life.
And now, what do your friends at school think? Do they know that you're a pro free runner?
It's really funny because some people like are a little bit like jealous and don't really want to talk to me or something, and I don't get that. Like, I'm just trying to be me and don't do like I'm just trying to do what I love to do. That's it, you know.
Yeah.
And I have like a big friend group at school. Most of them are girls, but also boys, and they really support me, and they want to go to competitions and watch and just like FaceTime me before I had to do a competition. So they're really supportive too. And when I'm like at a competition or something or training in the morning, they take notes, and then after that they FaceTime and I take over the notes.
No way. So you have good friends. That's awesome. How many kids are on the competition team with you at Jump Free Run?
Like we have a next gen. It's just like a talented group.
Okay.
But I don't know. There are like a lot of people, but we have one top sport group for Jump Free Run, and there are only I think 4 other people.
Okay.
And they are all young kids. So we have the youth team and like team NL, and we have just like team NL.
Ah, okay, okay. And is that the same team that you competed with on Holland's Got Talent?
Yeah, yeah, but like there were some other people from the next gen, so it was
Okay.
really cool.
And how was that competing on that TV show? Was it exciting? Was it scary?
At first, it was super awesome, and we went there. We were all like excited and stuff like that, and it was very good and really like it was very different from when you train with that group, but it was really awesome.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's definitely different to do a live show than like compete in a competition. It's a little weird. That's so funny. And now, have you got the chance to do any other stuff in entertainment, like any other TV shows, or is that something you want to do in the future?
I've been on some. How do you say that? Oh yeah, um, like commercials and stuff like that. Wacht even, over acties. Okay, I just have like a lot of jobs and for different mates and stuff like that. So it's really cool, and I'm really enjoying that. I also do like modeling,
Yes.
and I do like I've been in um, it's like Zap Sport. It's a Dutch TV show,
Okay.
and there are like young kids who are trying to show off their sport and talent, and I've been on that, so it's really cool.
That's awesome. And do you have an agent for modeling and parkour and stuff, or do they just contact you, the company?
I think they just contact me from my Instagram. I
Awesome.
post like almost every day on there, and I think yeah, most of the time they just slide into my DMs and just try to like get contact with me.
That's awesome. And you just mentioned it that you post like almost every day. Are you out there shooting new clips all the time, or do you store your clips so that you have some saved?
Most of the time I'm just like I'm going every day. I'm like training and just doing stuff, or like when I have like a rest day, I'm just making photos and stuff like that. But I think everything that I post is like on the same day I trained it.
And do you, with how much that you train and training, you know, twice a day, 6 days a week, do you get sore at all, or is your body used to it?
It's very weird because when I train with Mark, I don't know if you know him, he's the best. He's the best coach ever. Tyrone, Mace, and Captain are really good too. Don't like come at me, please. But like, when I train with them, I get really sore. But when I train like just normal training, it's really weird because I don't feel anything at all. I'm just training the next day again, and yeah.
That's super cool. And now I know that one of the things that's really cool about your Instagram is that you're always posting new things you landed. I know the other day you posted your first round off double full outside. You also posted the first time you did 540 twist outside.
Yeah.
And so when you do these,
I really like to show people like what I'm trying or what I'm training.
and when you try these new tricks outside, is it the same thing as like a competition? Are you a little bit nervous inside, or do you just know like, oh, I've done this enough in the gym, I got this?
I'm really nervous, but I always turn on my music really loud, and like everybody in my Freerun school, when they hear that song, they get really annoyed and they say like, "Stop it! You have to do it without the song. Just go." And I'm like, "No, no, no! The beat is coming. Just wait, just wait." And then I'm doing it, but after that, I just stop the music and just do it like a lot of times, so it gets in my system, kind of.
And so, I mean, I have to ask the question now, what's the song that you listen to pump you up? Is it the same song or is it a different song?
It's like most of the time the same song. I have two songs that I really like. No, three. Three songs that I always listen, like always. It's like Remember the Name,
Okay, I know that one.
Till After Laughs from
Yep,
Eminem,
yep.
and Shotgun from Yellow Claw.
No way, that's so funny. So those are the songs that pump you up and get you calm inside.
Yeah, definitely like Shotgun. It's like you have such a good like drop. So I'm like hyping myself up like, hey, let's go, I can do this. It's not a problem. Just go. If I fell and I landing on my butt, it doesn't matter. Just go. I did it.
It's amazing. And how do you listen to it? Do you have earphones in? Do you have a speaker playing?
I always have like a big speaker with me and I just drop it somewhere on the grass.
And now I have a question. With you trying so many new tricks and training so many days a week, have you ever had any serious injuries yet, or have you been pretty safe?
I've been pretty safe, I think. I didn't have any injuries, but I have one time that the first time I did a backflip outside, it was on like fake grass with like sand and it was really wet. So I did a backflip and I slipped, so I landed on my face and I had like one red stripe from the top of my face to my chin for really long. And I also had a dog face for like 2 weeks because I landed like flat on my head.
That's so funny. I was going to ask if you've ever had something that messed up your modeling, and that's funny. You had a red stripe.
Yeah, I had to wait for a long time.
And so, like, of the moves I've seen online, like I said, you've done like your double full outside recently. You did 540 twist outside. I saw when you did the double cork outside for the first time. What was the scariest trick that you ever had to take from the gym to outside?
Wait, let me think about it.
Yeah, that's okay. And hey, you may not be scared either. You know, there's some people that say they're not scared, but I'm just curious.
I'm scared. Believe me, I'm scared. But that's okay. Like, I think it's part of the sport.
It
You
is.
have to overcome your own fears and see what happens.
Yeah, and that's why I'm asking you, is that I think it'll provide some like comfort and inspiration to other kids watching to know like, oh, even she got nervous the first time she did like double cork outside, you know? So
Yeah, that's true. I think for the scariest flip, it's or double cork or double flyway. No, I think it's double flyway because I wasn't that good in bars back like in the days. I don't know how to say that.
Yeah.
And like I never did bar tricks or something like that. And I did my first swing gainer And a week after that, my coach said, like, okay, if you just keep talking, you can have double. And I was like, holy shit, don't say that. I'm really scared. And I think they pushed me a bit. And when I did it, it was like less scary than I thought. But then my coach was like, ready for concrete, let's go, you can do this. And I was like, oh my God, I don't want to do this. And I think one of the first times I did it, like the first time I did it was at the beach with Mace, one of my coaches, and it was really fun because it was sand and it was actually not that like there was no difference, just in my mind. So, and the second time, no, the first time I did it like on concrete was actually the first clip of my record of my.
That was the first time you did it on concrete? Oh my goodness. That's crazy.
And it was actually like the first try.
Wow. And you did it in a run.
Like some more tries after that just to get it in my system, but yeah.
That's so crazy. And now, are there any moves that you're currently training or dreaming of? Are there any dreams that are on a list that you still need to get or you really want?
I'm trying to get my round of double full right now.
Okay.
I don't know, it feels good when you land it. I don't know how to explain that, but yeah. And my 540, I really want to clean that one because I really don't like. I'm a little bit scared of flips when I go like front instead of back. Does that make sense? Like, yeah. I don't know, but my 540, when I did it the last time outside, I was like pretty confident with that one. So yeah, and there's this one trick that I think Eric Freerun from Instagram.
Yes.
Alexander. Yeah, Alexander. I think he's like doing. He did that one at Red Bull Art of Motion. It's like one trick. I don't know what's the name of it. Yeah. I don't know what's the name of it, but it's like a trick when you do like kind of a double side flip, but it isn't a double side flip. You do it from. Oh no! Okay. How am I gonna explain this? Okay, you have a bar.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like that, and then you go like 2 times, kind of like a double flyaway, but then with the first time your legs on the.
But you put your feet on the bar, right? Yes,
yeah.
I think they call it toe shoot. It's like toe shoot, double flyaway. Yeah, you're right though. Eric Freerun did that one at a competition before. So, do you have a favorite part of parkour? Do you like bars? Do you like flips? Do you like flow? Do you like anything in particular that's your favorite part of the sport?
Like, I like everything from parkour, like bars, flips, everything. I'm not that good in bars, but like maybe it looks like that when I'm doing like a double flyaway, but that's like one of the only things that I can do on a bar. So, yeah.
That's a good one to do though. You picked a good one to learn. That's amazing. Well, that's really, really cool. And so like with everything that's going on right now, with you still being in school and you still training so often, what do you do for fun in your free time? Or is parkour what you do in your free time?
Like parkour, but yeah, but I also really like playing like an instrument. I play guitar and keyboard.
Oh,
So,
wow.
yeah, I like that too.
No way.
Most of the time, I just do parkour.
How long have you played instruments for? How long have you played guitar and keyboard?
Not long, actually. I think 2 years. Not that really long. My uncle gives me lessons. Right now he doesn't because of the corona and stuff like that. But he gives me lessons, and yeah. I also really like to draw in my free time. I don't know how to. Like, I like to. How do you say that? Oh yeah, like the manga.
Yeah, manga, like anime style cartoons, yeah.
I actually have like 4 books of that in my drawer right next to my bed. I really like to draw that. I think it's really fun. So.
Now I just got to ask, because it looks like in your room that there's like a picture of the ocean. Is that a surfboard on the other side too, or?
Yeah, it's like do you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. What
Yeah, it's a surfboard. It's my surfboard. The name of my surfboard is Betty. Betty. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce that in English. And yeah, I surfed a lot when I was younger, like really a lot. And I'm working actually right now. I'm working at a NOA surf shop. So yeah,
No way, that's funny. And where did you surf at? Is there surfing in Netherlands?
yeah. I like the surf school Aloha. It is like a restaurant, a shop, and a surf school. I have been growing up there since I was like 8, I think. Also like for running. So yeah.
I didn't know that you surfed out there. Honestly, your bedroom looks like a girl that lives in like Los Angeles, his bedroom, because that's so funny.
I really want to go there and train in Los Angeles. I actually plan to go there this summer vacation.
Okay.
Gonna work out because of the corona and stuff like that.
Totally. And that's a great question I had for you, which is besides Jump Freerun, where's your favorite place you've ever got to train or visit or compete at? Is there a favorite place?
Yeah, definitely America.
Uh,
I think I train at really different places, like small and big places. Um, in America, I don't know which one is my favorite. They were all like really awesome. So yeah.
well, hopefully you get the chance to come over when all of this ends very soon. But that's really cool. And so one of the questions I have for you, especially at your young age, is for other kids that are out there listening, what advice do you have for them if they want to get into parkour? Do you think they should go into classes, go train on YouTube? Like what suggestions would you give to a young kid that messages you on Instagram and says, Noah, how do I start parkour?
I think like just do it. Don't think that much because when you gonna think about like one trick or like a big jump, you're like making yourself more nervous. So just like go with the flow and just I think when I'm training, I don't think about anything. I'm just doing it, and yeah.
And so one of the other questions that I have for people that are usually a lot older than you, so this is going to be funny because you're so young, is there anything that you have a regret about in your training so far? Is there something where you look back on and you go, wow, I wish I would have tried that, or wow, I could have saved myself a lot of time if I just trusted myself or did this differently?
Um, I think actually my double cork. I trained my double cork for 4 years now, uh, and I never did it like now I did, but back then I never did it like outside, and
Yeah.
I could do it like so easy. That's what my coach said, and I was like, no, not at all. Like I bet if I do it right now, I feel and I fall on my face and just like yeah. But I think if I really trusted myself, I could do it like a lot of how do you say that? Back then.
Yeah, you could have done it way sooner, right? Okay.
Yeah. But right now I did it like in my competition and at the beach, just like everywhere, so it's fine now.
That's so funny. And now, do you have a favorite trick of yours that you like to do, or it's like your go-to, you can do it every time, your eyes closed, it's your favorite one?
I don't really have like, a favorite trick. I really like to do like Western run back full because you get like in the flow. It's like um, when you do Webster, you land split boots and go to round back full or double back full, and that's just a really nice feeling because you don't stop. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And now, I don't mean to bring up a bad subject, but I do know that in one competition, you actually put a post up and you're very open about it, that it was when you actually, I think you did your double cork in it, but then you fell on your round off full at the end of it. Is that right?
Yeah. But like I was so disappointed in myself and my coach was like, no, it's fine. Everybody feels like one at one competition or something. And I was like, no, I can't. I'm so disappointed. Fuck. And like round of back full is one of the easiest tricks that I can do, or round of double full. And I was so like I didn't even feel fail at my double cork or something. It was like just a stupid random backflip, and I was so disappointed in myself. And yeah, but it's okay. I think it overcomes everyone. So
yeah, and it was funny because, like you said, it was like your easiest trick. It was at the end of your run. You did double cork in the beginning and everything else. But I think what was cool was that even on your Instagram, you put a quote up there from DK that said, "Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn," and I think that was really, really cool.
I really like to share like almost everything with my Instagram followers, and I don't share everything. Like everybody needs like a private part, his or him or herself. But like I try to like just show what I'm going through, and when I really felt like I really, really was so angry at myself and really disappointed, and I was trying like you see at the end of my run, I walk away and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna smell, I'm gonna smell, I'm gonna smell, and when the camera stopped and when I went backstage, it was like crying, angry, and my coach was like, stop it, you did it okay, right? Everybody just feels like, oh, sorry. And everybody like feels one time at a competition and stuff like that. So yeah, but I'm always trying to like when I'm at the competition live, I'm always trying to be happy and talk to everyone because I really that's like the biggest part of myself. I most of the time try to be happy and positive, but at that time I was like, okay, keep smiling, and then okay, cameras out, okay, nobody's around me, and cry.
Don't feel bad. When I was a kid and I used to compete in martial arts, the times I would lose, I would be crying my eyes out. It's hard to learn, especially when you're younger and you just feel you feel pressure from yourself, not even from other people.
Yeah, that's true. I think I was really like, okay, my dub cork is in it. I was really scared for the dub cork, like really. I didn't know. I didn't do it like never. I did it in a run on concrete. So it was like, oh shit, I don't know how it is gonna turn out, but I'm just gonna do it and just see what happens. And yeah, I was more scared of that trick than a round of backflip.
It's always the ones that you take for granted that you usually fall on. That happens to me too. That's amazing. Well, before we get out of here, do you have any big plans for yourself for 2020? I know things are a little different because of COVID and the quarantine, but what are your goals for 2020 and NOA in the parkour and freerunning world?
I really want to travel, train hard, meet people, have fun, and join some more events and competitions.
Okay, super cool. And now this is a question that I end every interview with, and it's going to be funny because you're so young, so I don't know if you've even thought this far ahead, but maybe it's good that we put you on the spot here. And you've seen it before, seen our episode, so I know you know this question, which is, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now, and where do you see yourself in 10 years from now?
I think like in 5 years, I really, really hope to just keep doing rep word of motion if I can, and like travel the world. I really want to make like how do you say that? Like a life journey. I don't know how to call that. Like I want to go 1 year and just 1 year off. When I get my diploma from my high school right now. So when I graduate, I want to go 1 year off and just train, travel, and meet new people. I think that's what I want.
And then what about 10 years from now?
I have no idea. Oh, I'm studying for how do you say that? Children pediatrician. I
Oh,
think.
okay, cool. No way. So to be a doctor.
Like I really like science, move science. I don't know how to call that. It's like movement science. Yeah, it's really fun. So I'm studying like these two things and more, of course. But I really try to like come far in that. And when I like I think I'm gonna do free running and parkour for all my life. I think. But you never know what's gonna happen, or if you get injured or something. So I think it's always good to have like a backup or something you really want to do when you're really old.
Well, yo, I appreciate you spending time with us during this quarantine and taking an hour out of your day to help inspire other kids out there. But before we get out of here, can you just let people know what your Instagram is or where they can follow you online so people can stay up to date with your journey?
Yeah, on Instagram I post every day, and it's like NOA and then _DIORGINA.
Amazing. Awesome.
I also post on YouTube and on Facebook. But Facebook I really don't use. I actually don't really use that. But it's just to have.
We'll be sure to put it on the screen so people can follow you. And again, thank you so much for being a part and for joining us today.
Thank you so much that I was welcome. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate it. Well, guys, as always, just please be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe for brand new episodes each and every week. Join us every Monday for Jam Breakdowns and every Friday for brand new JAMCast interviewing influential members of the movement community like Miss NOA DIORGINA herself. So as always, guys, I got to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Inner West Hemp. Be sure to visit them online and use the code JAM for 20% off all of your CBD products in need. And as always, guys, I got to give one more special thank you and shout out to our guest this week, Miss NOA DIORGINA.
Thank you.
Heck yes. And as always, guys, coming through, sending sincere wishes for health and happiness during this time. I'm your host, Travis Wong. Thanks for joining us here on another JAMCast. Until next time, we'll see you all soon. Peace.